Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Aceikith Gaming and welcome to another placement game within the ranked series of League of Legends. This is in fact placement game number 9 and the final one that I'll be doing within the placement games across this season. So season 11 for League of Legends and the ranked series is obviously my very first one. And it's been a pretty interesting ride, but now this is the final placement game recording that I'm going to be making. It's a little bit different. The reason why you will see over the course of this game, we're up against a Janna, we are, and I decided to go with an unorthodox pick. Reason being because I saw some of the likelihood of the fact that we had a Riven top lane that didn't seem very good. So I felt like that the Nasus was going to get very much out of control. Because of that, I decided that I would go with a support Malphite, which is doable, but you've got to realise that you will be, for a support, very slow moving. But as we go into the late game, I knew that our team comp would be able to do quite a lot of damage overall. So we're playing Malphite support against a Janna. Our bot lane, we've got a Samira up against an Ezreal. Our mid lane, we've actually got a Karthus mid lane up against a Veigar. And then our top lane, as I said earlier on, is a Riven, which had a bad win rate. Which is part of the reason why I decided to go with my choice of going Malphite support. Otherwise, I honestly wouldn't do it because it's unorthodox. Some people might call it a cheese pick. It kind of is, but I do feel very confident with Malphite, which was the reason why I decided to pick it in the first place. Top lane's Riven is up against a Nasus, which like Veigar is a hyperscale hyper carry. And then obviously you've got the jungles of Nocturne, where on the opposing side they have got a Volibear. So my plan is that we're not probably going to win lane phase unless we get a fair few ganks, but I'm not massively expecting it. For me it's about poking more than anything else. As you can see, obviously, then the Samira then just goes on, not really respecting the Ezreal, unfortunately. I Flash just wanting to take out the Ezreal, and then that way he can't do too much. I end up igniting the Ezreal, so I end up getting a kill on the Ezreal. I probably shouldn't have done, if I'm entirely honest, but I wanted to make sure that I did get the kill. That way, the opposing bot lane is not going up on XP compared to my own. So, yes, the Samira gets an assist, I get a kill, which isn't the most ideal, but I would rather do that than not get a kill at all and let Ezreal basically just scale on ahead, which is another part of a good thing that Malphite is actually good with. If you're not doing quite so well, with, say, for example, your AD carry is not doing very well, you as a support can still actually do some decent amount of damage, and you can effectively tank for the team quite well. As you saw there, the Riven then ends up getting killed by a Nasus. The Riven should not be getting killed in any way of the form. But it does seem like that was actually the Volibear that actually got the kill. But still, nevertheless, the Riven shouldn't really be getting killed, losing to a Nasus in lane phase, really, to be honest. But like what we've seeing across this season so far, is that hyperscale champions can still do fine in laning phase. So, but yeah, you can obviously hear pingings. They're not just the pings of our team; it's also of the opposing team. Just so you are aware. So obviously you can see the chat filing up, obviously to the left-hand side. Me and the Samira decide to back away because our health are quite low. The Nocturne is still staying around, although he can physically see that we're both backing. And I will tell you right now, by this point, the reason why I did not actually go forward, and I actually deleted the original recording file. So I've actually had to re-download the replay file. Reason why is because the Samira was being very toxic to a point where, if you remember during another game that we played previously, where we actually shut off the communication from a particular player, I ended up doing that eventually after so long, not just with the Samira, but I also did that with the Nocturne. I did and the Riven. The only one that seemed to be on the same wavelength that I was during the course of this game was the Carthus. So, but yeah, like obviously the lane phase hasn't gone to the best of starts, but we're not too far away from level, so they're not like pulling away. They didn't hard shove, and then you can see like the Nocturnes like repeatedly just keep pressing, but then at the same time he then gets caught out by the Volibear. They're both currently in the Drake pit right now. I immediately see that, so I decide, right, what I'm going to do, I am going to go over and try and protect the Nocturne. I Q onto the Janna, although I'm not going to attack her. Reason being is because that gives me a kind of like an extra speed boost. But yeah, this is now 2v3. We end up getting the shutdown on the Volibear. I end up using my Ignite on the Ezreal. And the Carthus is even joining in. Which, like, Carthus is similar to, like, say, for example, a Veigar or an Asus. They're a hyper-scale, hyper-carry type of champion. But you normally see the likes of Carthus inside a jungle. So, but he does work in mid. But ideally, he's most of the time he should be working inside of the role that is jungle. As you can see, I end up just queuing. I really wanted the Samira to just back away, to be honest, because yet again she's low on health. She's wanting to go very aggressively, and it's kind of like she's thinking that I'm gonna go in as soon as I get a Q off. All I'm doing really is poking the Ezreal, so, or the Janna, so that way they lose movement speed and I gain movement speed, so that way I can also protect my Samira. But as you can see, yet again, she's still trying to push up, which really I didn't want to happen, really, to be honest. Like, my thinking is, wait until level 6. The Ezreal is no low on health. Like, I mean, like, this would be actually a decent time to go, you know what, we could actually go in now. But her dives seem a little bit awkward. It does, in a way. That, you know, I am thinking, like, you know, why are we doing what we're doing? But at the same time, she ended up having to use heal just in that way she's not killed by that Janna. So it's a little bit unfortunate, but at least she's managed to save herself, but she's had to use her heal in the process. While this is all going on, the Riven and the Nasus are having a fight together, which is pretty interesting. They do want to be a little bit careful, especially now that the Riven's actually now being caught out by the Volibear, who was on blue buff at that very moment. That's why you saw the ping inside of a shadowed area. The Volibear was around about there. And the Nasus ends up using his ult to try and kill off the Riven. The Nocturne then goes in, which is a very good idea probably, but they do need to be a little bit careful because obviously, yes, the Carthus is coming up, but yeah, as you can see now, Janna has started roaming. Which obviously at this very moment in time, I didn't really feel that confident in roaming at this very moment. I will be honest, I was a little bit skeptical of our Samira at this very given time. But yeah, like it's one of these type of games where like we kind of need to be selective with our gameplay, and I'll be honest, at this point I didn't really feel that Samira was allowing me to do that. You know, I felt that she was always pushing up the moment I press a Q in, which isn't the idea really of my Malphite playing style. Really, I tend to use my Q more for poking, really, to be honest. But there's now a mid lane gank happening over in mid lane. Carthus being ganked by the Volibear. Unfortunately, the Veigar does get the kill. Obviously, he's got his passive where he can still use his abilities even after he's died for about another 5 seconds. Unfortunately, doesn't account to much. At the same time, the Nocturne is now just constantly pinging myself and Samira. I'll be honest, at this very time, I didn't know exactly what was going on. I didn't realise that the Volibear had actually ventured down. Which at this point, really, me and the Samira, if I had known, I had a feeling what was going on, but at this very given moment, we should have backed away long by now. Now I see the Vigar's now come up onto the minimap. The Samira's going to take a death here. And Ezreal unfortunately does get the shutdown, but the Ezreal did ult as well. Now the Nocturne's now caught out, trying to have a fight with the Volibear, with also chasing Janna. This is the difference now between the Janna and obviously myself with the Malphite. Obviously I haven't gotten proper tankiness yet so far, but I honestly did feel that the Nocturne wasn't going to come in. So obviously I didn't mean to take that kill, but at this point I didn't really feel like I could have a great amount of trust across a lot of players. Really, I'll be honest, and I probably shouldn't have gone in for this, but there you go. And then the Karthus now gets a kill on the Ezreal. He did use his ignite and his ult though, but with Karthus obviously being a hyperscale, it's you know, it's obviously very interesting to see a Karthus mid lane, but he is doing he's actually doing reasonable at the moment. He is a little bit low on farm, as opposed to the Vigar, but he has got an extra kill and an extra assist. They have compared to the Vigar, so they're a little bit ahead on the KDA at the moment. The Riven has currently got a bounty. She is also ahead of the Nasus as well, which is good. So obviously, me having a look at the ratios of how this game could be played out, it's obviously a little bit wrong to obviously what was originally thought of. Our Samira is already ahead of the Ezreal by a bit. I'm expected to be ahead of the Janna, obviously, because I've got a more defensive support item, where Janna's got the offensive one. But I have also got a bounty. I'm the only one in my team that is yet to die. And Janna is the same. She is the only one in her team that is left to die in this game so far. But the difference is, I've got a bounty on mine, and I've got a bounty on me. The Janna hasn't, because she's not actually got any kills yet. But now I just want the Samira to just move away a little bit, especially because we're in the middle of actually doing Drake right now. So I'm end up just going to now just try and help out with the Drake, try and get this done as quickly as I possibly can. But we just about managed to get that dragon slain, although we had an Ezreal ult, and we also had a Janna Q as well. And the Nocturne just suddenly go very wild onto the Vigar. Ends up getting himself killed because he ended up going under tower, which is not the most ideal, I will say. Excuse me. Which now allows Vigar to be the first to actually get his mythic item. So Samira's already got her mythic item, which is a Mortal Shield Bow, and there is quite a lot of burst in the team. Like, you got Ezreal, you got Janna, you've also got Vigar, and you've also got a lot of CC as well. So actually having a Mortal Shield Bow is probably a very pivotal thing. But we end up getting what looks to be a double kill. And you can see the Samira is pinging me quite a lot, as if to ask, why did you KS? But I immediately put on that I use Ignite, which obviously is unfortunate. It's not the most ideal of things. I'm not meaning to take kills, but, you know, I seem to be doing quite well so far. Despite me taking kills. But I am giving her kills as well. So it's not like I'm not trying to, you know, to intentionally take away kills for her. But this is still a very tough game in general. This is so. But yeah, like, at the moment, we're doing well. Like, I feel like the team as a whole are doing well. Like, we could possibly have prevented maybe 1 or 2 deaths. Possibly Nocturne could have prevented one of their deaths at least. Riven is possibly the same. But you're about to see that the game is going to start getting a little bit out of control, to the point where that the Nocturne and the Riven, and this was possibly the main reason why I decided originally I wasn't actually going to be putting this on, was because the Nocturne and the Riven will now start to kind of disrupt each other's gameplay. To the point where the Nocturne will start taking some of Riven's farm, because Riven has just taken red buff. Which you could possibly argue that the Riven is possibly needing it, because she's the furthest ahead right now. She is, as opposed to KDA alongside with the with her minion, with her coup score. But then at the same time, you could possibly say they could give it to me, because obviously, yes, I'm a support, but I am the main tank. But I think at this very given moment, you should be giving the red buff possibly to either the Riven or the Samira. We're now going to start coming down over to the bot side river, because the Riven is actually chasing the Viger, which is now going to get himself killed under tower. And so in that way, he's not able to really do too much. Yeah, Janna ends up getting a really good Q. He does, unfortunately. And because of all of that, the Ezreal ends up getting a double kill, which includes getting a shutdown on myself. So this is actually my first death of the game. Janna recently got killed, obviously, by the Samira. Yeah, the Riven there did overstay a little bit. The Ezreal gets killed also by the Riven. The Nocturne is also just staying up in top lane. So it's like as if the jungle and the top lane have actually switched lanes, which you should never do. So I'm really, like, I'm even, like, obviously, you know, going through this game, obviously originally when I was playing it, I was very confused as to why this sort of gameplay was going on, really, which is very unfortunate. But you're always going to get that person every so often do something that really, to be honest, it shouldn't happen. But as you can see, the Carthus is obviously doing very well. I'm trying to keep my head in you know, leveled. You know, I don't want to be making mistakes. The Carthus is concentrating on his own gameplay. But yeah, like, these games do happen, and sometimes when you're playing a game like this, it's a matter of how you handle it, really. And this is what this type of game is about. That if you do get a player want to flame you, say for example, then, you know, like, sometimes it's about you concentrate on yourself rather than others. You know, players can only do so well on their own. Like, yes, it is a team game, but at the same time, you can always help out yourself by improving on your own terms. Don't worry about others quite so much. You know, what matters more than anything else is how you are playing specifically. And this is exactly what I mean. That the Volibear tried being a bit cheeky, trying to get a cheeky kill on the Nocturne. But because of that, he's almost down to as low health as Nocturne was. And Nocturne's been that low on health for a little while now. But as you can see, the Janna ends up queuing onto the Drake. At this point, really, we should be pulling out the Drake a little bit more. But luckily, the Carthus is around to try and stop it. The Janna and the Samira is also directly onto the Volibear. Ends up getting killed for it. But as you can see, I'm possibly about to get killed myself almost. Nocturne comes in at the very moment that I've actually just gotten killed myself. So I'm not sure reasoning why the Nocturne was actually looking to try and go and dive into the fight after most of us have all died. While this is all going on, the Riven and the Nasus are still fighting 1v1. Most Rivens tend to split push, although they're probably not the best of you know, team fighters. They are more of a split pusher, but so is Nasus. But Nasus, obviously, as you saw during a game previously in the series, that they aren't bad in fights either. They're both very good duelists, but they can still do well on their own. But you may have noticed, like, obviously, during this gameplay is that the Nasus has actually rushed a Frozen Heart, which is actually a very good item against a Riven. Riven's gone Eclipse, Nocturne's gone Stride Breaker, Volibear has gone Turbo Chem Tank, Veigar has gone Everfrost Edge, as I said earlier on, Karthus has gone Leander's Anguish, Ezreal has gone Duskblade to Drakthar, Samira's gone with Immortal Shield Bow, Janna's gone with the Imperial Mandate, and I've gone with the Sunfire Aegis, which Sunfire Aegis is obviously not a support item, a support mythic, it is a tank mythic. But that was kind of my plan all along, that I am going to go as tanky as I physically can, so that way everybody has to come through me before they can come through anybody else. And I'll be honest, at this very moment, me and the Karthus was waiting around on each other. I should have actually gone in early, because I kind of forgot of how slow Malphite actually moves, and that was kind of my own doing. I should have started walking in onto the Nocturne, so that way I'm into the fight, and then the Nocturne just comes in. And then that way we can just completely annihilate both the Ezreal and the Janna by doing possibly even a 3v2. And the Riven is, it's the Karthus now asking for assistance, alongside with the Riven to try and take out the top lane side. Myself and the Samira are still fighting with the Ezreal and the Janna. We are just about to get our the bot side tier 1 turret, which is very good. But now we do need to be a little bit careful. The Volibear and Nasus go down on top side, but the Riven does get taken down by the Veigar. I end up ulting into the Ezreal, and I end up getting another kill, which is probably frustrating to Samira, but I'll just do a little thumbs up emote to say that everything is good. And we unintentionally also, during all of that time, end up acing the enemy team. So that makes all of this now completely safe to do. So we end up managing to damage some of the turret. Not all of it, but some of it. So we're already starting to get into the tier 2 turret. But what the enemy team should start to do is start actually coming down into us. The Volibear does do that. The Nasus should be along there as well, possibly, although he may decide to go top side. So the best idea to do at this very point is just back off. We've already got our boots. We've also got the Bramble Vest, which should momentarily go into a Thorn Mail, which is a very ideal second item. During this game as well, that I will start building some MR, which will go against the Veigar and also the Volibear, because the Volibear does do some AP damage as well as AD damage. He is a hybrid tank, after all, which obviously Malphite is an AP tank, which is very good, obviously, against certain opponents. Like you can use Q into an Ezreal. You can even use, or even a Veigar if he's out of position, and obviously the Veigar has very low movement speed. The Volibear ends up ulting again, but is completely and utterly surrounded. I decide that all I'm going to do is just make sure that the Volibear is taken out of the equation, because Drake is now up, so just get the kill done. The Karthus does flag up to say that I do have ult ready. I'll be honest, at this very moment, I didn't think it was worth it. And you're about to see in a second why I do it, because what I'll do is I just ult up to here, because then that way I can try and stop anything that is going on. And I end up burning out my flash. I do from that. It's probably a little bit silly of me, but I'm just trying to limit the fact that I am gonna die. I don't want to die too often if I can help it, especially when I've got a bounty. Which, yeah, again, I've got a bounty on me, and I of course want to get this Thorn Mail. But I don't want to also give a bounty away. So it's obviously one of these type of games that is quite long. We don't want the game to take too long though. And the issue is is the fact that if this game does take too long, the Veigar and the Nasus will both jointly just take over this game all on their own. The Volibear just charges in, and I did not expect the Nocturne to come in. Really, that was kind of my fault. But yeah, I didn't quite have the my ult back just yet, so we're just gonna back off for now and just reset, and then allow this game to obviously just take its course. But yeah, the Samira has still got a good amount of creep score. So has the Riven, so has the Nocturne. Like, all of us as a group are actually doing pretty well. The only one that hasn't got a better creep score compared to their opponent, literally, is Karthus. But he's currently got a bounty at the moment, and he's actually also got a good KDA. He's only got 3 deaths. The Karthus has got 5 kills and 8 assists, where the Veigar's have got, yes, 1 extra kill compared to the Karthus, but he's only got 1 assist, and he's died twice as much as well.
Rampage.
Of course, now we might want to look into maybe try and get in another fight. Of course, Baron is now up. The Veigar, is he going down? Yes, he is. And I think the Veigar has just started to flame the Nasus a little bit. But really, that was kind of his own fault, for the fact that he did end up actually just teleporting right in the middle of a team fight. Which, of course, as we all know, is not a good idea. So that is that. We're just going to ward around in the bot side enemy jungle a little bit, just to make sure that there's nobody around. The Janna does get a shutdown on the Samira, who died all on their own. So kind of not really paying too much attention to the map. Which is unfortunate, but myself and the Karthus, we are trusting each other quite a lot, and I decided, you know what, I'm just going to get rid of all of them minions there, so that way we can shove the wave in just a little bit, not too much, because obviously the next wave is coming up now. And the Nocturne goes in again, and I get my ult in as well. The Veigar's stuck in. I unfortunately do get stunned as well. I'm going to get stunned again, and I am going to get shut down by the Veigar, whose ultimate, of course, does percentage damage on missing health. The Ezreal is also going to get a shutdown on the Karthus, which is possibly a little bit annoying, but I think the Nocturne is possibly going to get a kill. No, he's not. But the Riven does TP down, which is probably not a good TP, because now they're going to now get surrounded. And there you go. Yeah. But Samira does use her heal, and she's probably angry at this point, and she ends up getting killed again. But yeah, as you can see, like, the opposing team are like, even our team actually, I should say, like, our team are actually flaming each other a bit. But the idea still stays the same. All we're concentrating on is our personal gameplay, to make sure that we are doing as good as we can. Because, unfortunately, that is all that we can do. We can only focus on ourselves. You know, if we start concentrating on how bad other players are playing, that will then get us be put into, yet again, another bad position. So, yeah. It's one of them type of things that does happen in a game. But it's a matter of, if you concentrate at least how well you're playing, and you know, if obviously other players don't do well and you lose because of that, don't think that's because that you played badly. I end up getting the ult onto the Volibear. He flashes away. The Veigar is now there. We've got kind of no choice but to go for this fight at this point. And the Veigar might get away. No, he does not. But yeah, obviously the difficult thing is for the rest of the team on the enemy side is that, yes, they've got the Nasus split pushing, so we might have to deal with that in a minute. But at the same time, we do need to get this straight. And I don't want to be attacking this Drake right now, because obviously we want to wait and make sure that we've got Smite ready, which now we do. So we end up just slaying that, and now we actually have Ocean Dragon Soul. Just to make you guys aware that that the enemy team did not get a single Drake at all this game. But we do end up losing Samira again, and we've got to be careful. It's a little bit like a game previously that yeah, we do need to be careful. Obviously, like a previous game, we got all of the Drakes, but it still didn't mean that we was in an absolute certain winning position. And part of that is due to the fact that they are grouping as 5, and we're not quite doing that. Or it's just where the opposing team comp is better. Like, I will probably say this there and now. The opposing team has probably got a better team comp than us, because the way that we've set ourselves up. They can basically go into a fight whenever they want to. We've got to kind of wait for some of our ults to come up for our fights to be worth. Like, we've got obviously a Aceikith assault, we've got a Malphite ult, which is very good. Samira can go right into the middle of the team, and alongside with obviously her immortal shield bow, she can do quite a lot of damage, and with lifesteal as well. But because of the team comp, that the way it's set out, we haven't got a proper support, which obviously I have been wondering over the course of this game. Can I actually do something, or like, you know, was going on Malphite support the correct thing to do? But obviously, you know, it's one of them type of games where you've made the choice, you go through it. We end up ulting as well as Nocturne does into the Volibear. The Volibear is taking a lot of damage, possibly more than what he should be doing. He does go down, but not before taking down the Nocturne with him. But the rest of us are all very tightly compacted together. The Viger is pinging down to the Nasus, asking why you're split pushing again. Really, that's kind of Nasus's job. His job is split push. Although it might not be always the correct decision, that's ideally what a Nasus wants to be doing, is split push. You know, and that is typically what all Nasuses will be doing. We were looking like we was going to start doing Drake, but the Baron, sorry, but we weren't. Janna just pinged to say it was somebody there. All I was looking to do was literally just send away the ward there. But yeah, like I would say, like, this game up to now, like when I was playing this game, obviously at the time, this was a very frustrating game. This was probably one of the most frustrating games I've ever had to play. Considering back, obviously, the previous game that we played, which was obviously, I believe, about 2 to 3 weeks ago, at that time, was probably one of the best comeback games that I've ever played. This game in particular is probably one of the most frustrating games that I've ever played. But you're going to get that. You are, unfortunately. It's a matter of how you deal with it. So, the Riven, all on her own, just gets taken up by the entire enemy team, which means there is another shutdown. Thankfully, yet again, it goes to the Janna, which possibly kind of actually helps out the matter, because really Janna shouldn't really be getting any sort of kills really. End up ulting a little bit too late to be able to save the Carthus, but we are going to take down 2 others, however. There's another double kill for the Samira, which is great. She is now 1176. Just to point this out, the amount of deaths that I've got compared to the rest, every single player, I've only got 3 deaths this entire game. The next one is the Janna, but then you've got to go to 5 deaths before the next one, which is the Nasus. And then you've got 6 deaths for the Nocturne and the Carthus. Riven's got 7 deaths at the moment. So is the Samira. But the enemy team, Volibear's got 9 deaths. Viger's got 10 deaths. And then Ezreal has got 13. Now, to put that into perspective, like, there's a streamer that I know very well, of which he says, the main thing is, if you want to stop, if you want to become better within ranked, number one thing to do just limit the deaths that you have. And that's what we've done at this point. Which makes us very reliable. Yes, some of the some of our team has died because they're overstaying or they're pushing too far up. But we're limiting our deaths, which has basically been the goal of this entire game. Was effectively just limit the amount of deaths that we have while helping out our teammates. Sometimes not getting killed is better than actually getting a kill. So we see we're now starting to go onto the volley bear again. I end up ulting as soon as the nocturne is in as well, and the Samira ends up ulting as well, which is a lot of burst damage, I will say. But as you can see, that is just annihilated 3 players. And I did buy an elixir of iron just to make sure I was insanely tanky during this team fight, because I knew this team fight in particular was going to be so important. So the Elder Drake is now up, so we can start thinking about starting this up. So we start this up. The amount of damage that we can do onto the Drake is a little bit low, but at least we will certain get that Elder Drake. So I decided I am going to go back, and the third item I buy is a Spirit Visage, which is going to be very good against a Viger, but also because of us getting MR, and also while we're also obviously tanking ourselves against magic damage, we're also in addition making different components of ourselves that actually make ourselves very good, quite reliable as well. Like we can actually do more damage, like we can amp it. Like my next thinking now, of course, we've got Elder Dragon. We've just lost our oh no we haven't just yet, but we're about to we will be very shortly losing our Elder Dragon buff, so we do need to try and push in these waves as much as we can. So we're just shoving this wave now. The volley bear, as you can possibly see up in the top level of the map, he's started split pushing. No idea why. Like maybe he's just gotten a bit angry, maybe in a way that he's thinking like, well, we've already lost this game, I'm just gonna do as much as we can, get myself some XP maybe, but that is unfortunately not going to work. And that is pretty much going to be the game. That is, like, if you do like the video, don't give it a like, and also give it subscribe to the channel if you do want to see more videos. I don't just do League of Legends videos, I do other games as well. We are looking at doing story playthroughs as well. So while we're doing League of Legends videos, we are doing playthrough videos. Like we've got Resident Evil 8 coming out later this year. So when that does come out, we will be looking at and putting that onto the channel. But I do hope you enjoyed the video. Although, like, obviously this was a very difficult match. Took a little bit longer than it probably should have done. But the outcome is the same. A win is a win. So, like, and I felt that I did reasonably well. Like, do let me know if you feel I could make improvements. Malphite support is a little bit unorthodox, of course. But, I'd feel like if you know the champion very well, and it's something that is definitely doable, as long as it's not a complete cheese pick, then sure, go for it. Like, and that was pretty much my goal, that I wanted to do something that I knew would work with the rest of the enemy team. And as we saw, it definitely worked. But otherwise, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you guys next time.